Now I want to talk about this movie I saw, this fantastic movie that I highly recommend. It's called Farha. It's a Jordanian movie, and it is about it's a coming of age story about a young girl during the Nakba. For those of you that don't know what the Nakba is, which means catastrophe, it happened in 1948, and that is the way most of like the Arab population, certainly the Palestinians, view the creation of Israel. They don't view it as, oh yeah, we created Israel. They view it as this catastrophe that happened to them and their people. And this movie takes place during that time. Now, of course, Israeli officials were not happy with that movie. They've been trying to shut down screenings of that movie. They've tried starting like campaigns, like cancel your Netflix subscription. We got to not get that movie out there. But thankfully, the Jews do not control the media, and the movie is on Netflix. I watched it. Anyone can watch it. First of all, beautifully acted, very compelling story, and it's based apparently on true events. The director of the film is saying that this whole film is based on a story that was told to her by a friend of her mother's. That had gone through the Nakba and had been expelled from Palestine and went through this firsthand. It's a crazy story. It actually has a lot of similarities to the Diary of Anne Frank, which is kind of crazy considering, what the Jews went through and now what the Palestinian people have gone through, many at the hands of the Jewish people. Now, listen, I don't know if this story is exactly 100% correct, but I have seen documentaries about the Nakba that had similar stories that are even worse, and stories like this have been well documented by Israeli historians. So people that are just so quick to dismiss this movie, oh, this isn't true, like stories like this happen. This is true, okay? In 1948, I know a lot of people just want everyone to believe that like, oh, Israel was just created and, it was all open land and the Jews just came and, they started their own country, but there were people living there, okay? And I know a lot of Jews, a lot of Israelis want to say, oh, well, the UN offered two states, but the Arabs didn't like how it was, divided, and they refused. So then the Israelis just, fought back and got Israel. It didn't go down exactly like that. There was a lot of horrible things that happened where these people were expelled from the land. In fact, such horrible things happened that the UN this week announced that next year they are going to commemorate 75 years since the Nakba by having a ceremony at the Grand Assembly. I got to get an invite to that, by the way. Which is really like awesome, I think, because it's about more time that people recognize this tragedy that happened to these whole group of people. For those of you that do not know, over 750,000 Palestinian people were expelled from their land, and over 15,000 were murdered during the Nakba. Now, these might not be 6 million numbers, but they're still huge numbers, all right? And I think it's great that the UN is going to commemorate the Nakba. I think it should be raising more awareness, and I think more people need to be educated. I had no clue growing up when I was going to Hebrew day school about any of these things, going to synagogue, what really happened, how Israel was really created off the backs and the deaths of the Palestinian people. And not only does everybody should know about this, but Jewish people need to know about this. Having Holocaust education for non-Jews is important, but also having an education what happened to the Palestinian people for the Jewish people is important. I think we are maturing as a society. I know we just celebrated Thanksgiving. And a lot of people are shifting Thanksgiving. Once it was viewed more as a celebration about kind of like the creation of a new land and us coming, the pilgrims coming to the Americas and being able to like eat off the land. But then it's become more and more clear that what Thanksgiving really is about people coming and wiping out, slaughtering the Native American people. And it's not so much, I feel like it's transforming the holiday from being something about like, we want to give thanks for almost giving recognition and paying respect to the people that died. And that's as important as it is for Native Americans and Americans in our country. It's even more important for Israelis and the Palestinian people and for Jews everywhere to know that the way that this land was created was not right and definitely not kosher at all. I just, I think it's amazing that the UN is recognizing this. I want more people to Farha is on Netflix. I hope people should check it out. I mean, there are some scenes in that movie that will make you sick to your stomach. And I've heard some stories that are horrible, and that, when the Palestinian people were being expelled from their land, they were not treated as human beings, and it was not done in the right way. And it's a shame on all Jews everywhere, actually, is what it's become.